So welcome, I'm Jody Balma with the League of Women Voters from North Orange County. Welcome to the forum and thank you for coming or watching. We are broadcasting this live on the Buena Park City's website as well as on channel 3/99. So thank you for watching, thank you for participating, and I especially want to thank the candidates for participating because without their participation, democracy doesn't work. So we will begin with a round of applause for all of the candidates. And now that you've gotten that out of the way, that's the last time you'll applaud until the end. So the candidates are seated in random order, drawn by lottery before the event. I'd like to remind you that because of our short time together, we want to get as many questions from you, our audience, to have the candidates answer. Hold your applause until the end, silence your cell phones, and remain respectful of all candidates at all times. Each candidate will start with a 2-minute introduction. Then we will go to questions from the audience where each candidate will answer every question with 1 minute of time. Our incredible timers will be here to give warnings of 30 seconds and then a stop sign. Answer your response briefly, and then we'll go on to the next candidate. All right, let's start. Mr. Franco.
Buenas tardes, Buena Park. 안녕하십니까? 사람들이, 저는 칼로스입니다. And good afternoon, Buena Park. I won't have a long intro, so I'm hoping to not hit that red mark. I want to thank everyone for being here, taking time out of your day to put this together, to attend, to watch at home. I just want to say that Buena Park, just like very few candidates on this forum, I am the organic choice. I am homegrown here, attending all local schools from Beatty Elementary to Buena Park Junior High and Buena Park High School. I did attend Cal State Fullerton, but I've always stayed in the same house right here in Buena Park, where my parents put their roots down. I don't stand for big party politics. I stand to work for the people here. And the 3 things that I want to accomplish, that I want to focus on, obviously listening to you, but it's also clean and safe streets, support for our local schools that have brought up such great people, and focus on our local economic growth. That's how we're going to get all the resources that we want to have here for Buena Park. So very respectfully, I'm Carlos Franco, running for Buena Park District 2, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. So the first question, as a Buena Park City Council member, what will you contribute to increasing representation and civic engagement in the community?
Thank you. I'm glad you asked a question about representation and civic engagement. The way I see it is that with civic engagement comes representation. Now, it's not realistic to say that everyone currently does or will engage in our community events. Well, we'd like to offer an opportunity, but most importantly, I'd like to encourage everyone who has an opinion about this to come talk to us so that maybe we as a city council, as city staff can address this and offer opportunities for you to be civically engaged. That's how you get representation, because we see you, because you come out, because you shake some hands. So what I'd like to do is leave that door open, offer those opportunities, and welcome them. Thank you.
What is your stance regarding OCPA, which is the Orange County Public Agency, in reaction to energy rates in Buena Park?
I'm going to have to dissent. You see, with the new Orange County Power Authority, City of Buena Park has been automatically enrolled for 100% renewable energy program, which sounds great, but it does come at the cost of our taxpayers. It does come of the people that live in Buena Park that are on a fixed income and now have to pay, I believe it's 1.5 kilowatts per hour, 1.5% kilowatts per hour. And it's unfortunate that you're getting the same, assuming same quality of energy for a higher rate. Where's that money going to? And quite frankly, I've opted out. I encourage the people of Buena Park to do the research and choose what's best for them. If you're all about the environment, awesome. If you don't feel like paying more, opt out. Quite frankly, it saddens me that the people that are actually on the Citizens Advisory Committee that are supposed to stand up for the people of Buena Park have decided to opt for it without considering multiple perspectives. Thank you.
As a Buena Park City Council member, what are your top priorities in decreasing the crime rate and the homelessness crisis in Buena Park?
So, Clean and safe streets is my number one goal here in the city of Buena Park, and they are actually in many ways tied together. We need clean streets in order for people to feel safe in many ways. If it's like the broken window theory, you see this happening and it's going to perpetuate. So we want to put a stop to it immediately. I'm on the side of making sure that we have more resources for our law enforcement and fire services. How we're going to get those is not just from funding from thin air. It's a focus on local economic growth. As I mentioned before, we can have these resources by focusing on businesses that are good and able to be retained here in the city of Buena Park. Spend more money in Buena Park, we'll have the money for all the services we need. Thank you.
What is your plan as a Buena Park City Council member regarding affordable housing?
This is an interesting question, affordable housing, because by no means is it a simple one. I'm in favor of affordable housing. I think people should have a nice place to live, and I think the city of Buena Park should do its best to make that happen somehow. I'm in favor of new development. I'm in favor that there is underutilized land here in the city of Buena Park. Although we're all built out, there are still buildings here that are falling apart that maybe we could tear down and build new things. So quite frankly, I think the best opportunity for us to do is create jobs here in the city, to give people the opportunity to buy a home here as we develop new things. Thank you.
How would you define your role as a city council member in Buena Park?
My number one goal and my number one role as city council member is to listen to the public, actively listen. And that's why I've worked so hard to go as far as to learn languages that may be a little bit more difficult to learn. I want to listen in your language. I want to know how you understand things. At the same time, it is our role to make decisions on behalf of the people. And even if that means that what's best for the people goes against what we personally feel. That's what I understand is the role of the city council member. With that, we collaborate. We collaborate not just with our colleagues on council, but with people and organizations in the community. Most importantly, we encourage civic engagement because none of this matters if our people don't get involved. Thank you.
As a Buena Park City Council member, what are your top 3 priorities for development projects?
I don't know if I have top 3 priorities, but I'll tell you that I am 100% in favor of developing Buena Park. It creates jobs, and within the creation of jobs, we do have a standing PLA in the city of Buena Park, so we should consider our labor trades that are here in Buena Park first. We have a ton of union workers that live here that should get dibs on some of those projects. So in addition to that, we're developing new housing. There are state mandates for that. So how we do that, I would suggest that we do a mixed use overlay. It's very common, and building homes next to people's jobs is what's going to reduce traffic and alleviate a lot of other issues that our neighbors are talking to us about. So quite frankly, I'm in favor of development. I'm in favor of creating local jobs, and I'm in favor of bringing the best we possibly can to the city of Buena Park. Thank you.
Pensions are a large portion of government budgets. How would you address those obligations with the ongoing needs of the city?
Pensions and ongoing city needs. What that tells me is that we need money to solve these issues. Well, quite frankly, the answer to that is local economic growth. I am 100% in favor of creating more jobs in our community. I'm 100% in favor of bringing good and retaining good businesses here in Buena Park. Remember, the more money spent in our city will give us the sales tax revenue to utilize for our city services, our city needs, and our pensions, of course. Thank you.
Who are your top supporting donors?
You know, I'm not too sure who my top supporting donors are because many of them have donated about the same amount, and they're all local people. None of them are big money, no major organizations, no political parties, none of that. So when elected, I work for the people of Buena Park, not for a big party, not for special interests, nothing like that at all. Thank you.
Does anyone have a criminal record, unpaid child support, or alimony payments?
You're asking me if I have a record of those things that you described?
The audience is asking about background.
You know what? I'm 32 years old. I don't have any kids. I have a clean record as a commissioner here in the city of Buena Park. I run through a background check. So quite frankly, when it comes to transparency, honesty, and most importantly, perhaps in this particular case, integrity, I think I'm pretty solid. But hey, I'm not perfect, but you won't catch me with a busted record, I'll tell you that. Thank you.
What is your plan for expansion of public services from the city?
So there are public services that the city already has, right? Fixing our streets, sewers, etc. Capital improvement projects already have an allocated budget in order to sustain those public services. Now, if we're talking about expanding on the already existing services by some projects that residents could get involved with, well, quite frankly, that's tied directly to civic engagement. We want people to come out because the last thing we want is for the city to invest dollars, taxpayer money, on programs that are going to be under or not at all utilized by the community. So let's inquire, let's encourage people to get involved, and then respond by allocating funds to expand on those projects. The answer to that goes back to local economic growth. Thank you.
The last question, what is the biggest need in your district?
If I were to narrow down the most important need that I see from listening to my neighbors, I live literally 2 blocks away from here, and that's clean and safe streets. Again, those are tied together. If you have an issue about housing and increased populations, that's all great. A lot of great ideas, but how do we really get things done? And how we get things done is that the more people that there are, the dirtier the streets could be. And making sure that we sustain that cleanliness, making sure that we fund our public safety whenever there is crime, as it has been rising, whenever some of these new houses have been set on fire. We have to make sure that clean streets and public safety is our #1 priority. After that, funding it goes down to economic growth. Thank you.
We'll start with Mr. Franco with closing statements for 1 minute each in reverse order of our opening statements. Mr. Franco.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for everyone for attending. This has been fun. Thank you for everyone watching out there. I really appreciate you tuning in. Lastly, I want to let people know that I'm your organic candidate. I have grown up here. I look out for you, and my leadership style stems from listening to, struggling with, and collaborating with each and every one of you, with your own idiosyncrasies, with our own cultural biases. It's okay. No matter where you are in life, there's a place for you here in Buena Park. So I'm happy to welcome all people to Buena Park, people that have been here their whole lives, people that just moved in. So with honesty, integrity, and transparency, don't believe the hype. I'm here to serve you, the general public of Buena Park, not any special interests. Thank you.
I now will allow the audience to applaud. Thank you so much for engaging in democracy. That's it.